Welcome back to Dan Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain the movie Hounds of Love, released in the year 2016. The movie begins in 1987 in Perth, Australia, where we meet John and Evelyn, a middle-aged couple who kidnaps girls before torturing and murdering them. We next meet a teenage girl named Vicky Maloney, who spends most of her time with her boyfriend Jason to avoid being at home after her parents' divorce. Vicky lives with her dad, Trevor, but he often leaves her with her mother, Maggie, for the weekends. Over dinner with her mother one weekend, Vicky asks if she can go to a party, but Maggie says no. Already upset with her mom for the divorce, Vicky ignores her mother and sneaks out to go to the party anyway. On her way, Vicky is approached by John and Evelyn, who she asks for directions to the main highway. The couple offer to let her use their home phone to call a taxi, and Vicky, who is uneasy about walking alone at night, reluctantly gets in the car with them. At the couple's home, Evelyn tells Vicky she has 2 children herself from a previous relationship, but that they live with their father. John and Evelyn then invite Vicky inside for some drinks. Unaware of the danger, Vicky accepts. When Vicky gets up to leave, she realizes the couple must have put something in her drink, and things take a terrifying turn as the couple begins to beat Vicky before locking her in a room. The next morning, when Maggie realizes that Vicky is missing, she calls Trevor to ask if she went to his place, but he says he hasn't seen her. Meanwhile, John looks through Vicky's bag and finds photos with her family. Although Evelyn thinks he is taking too much of an interest in Vicky, she is too scared to say anything to him. When John finds the dog pooped inside the house, he yells at Evelyn and orders her to clean it up. He tells her if she can't even take care of a dog, how could she possibly take care of children? Vicky hears this and realizes John doesn't allow her to have her kids at the house. When Evelyn brings Vicky some water, she asks why they kidnapped her, but Evelyn doesn't respond. Then, as she unlocks one of her chains to change the sheets, Vicky tries to get herself free. But Evelyn warns her not to get herself into trouble by trying to trick her. Vicky begs Evelyn to let her go, saying her father is a surgeon and can pay them whatever they want. But Evelyn is not interested in money and tells Vicky to do as she is told. Seeing children's toys in the room, Vicky starts talking about them in hopes of driving a wedge between the couple. But Evelyn changes the subject, asking about her family instead. Vicky tells her about their divorce, but doesn't say anything else. Later, Evelyn takes her to the bathroom where she hears planes and guesses she must be near an airport. We then see John dealing with 2 gangsters whom he owes money to. They aggressively threaten him to try and get their money back, but John convinces them he will have their money within a few days. Back in the house, Evelyn tells Vicky to write a letter to her family, telling them she has run away to live in Adelaide. But Vicky asks if she can write to her boyfriend instead, but Evelyn forces her to write to her mother, ordering her to tell her she loves her and understands why she left her father. In the letter, Vicky also secretly hides an address she found of a Christmas card on a shelf where she is being kept. While Evelyn takes Vicky to the bathroom again, John arrives home and comes to take Vicky away with him. The thought of them together upsets Evelyn, and she tries smoking to distract her from what they are doing together. Soon, the anxiety becomes too much, and Evelyn knocks on the door and calls John out. When he comes out, she passionately kisses him. Seeing an opportunity to escape, Vicky tries to jump out the window, but changes her mind after seeing the dog sitting right outside. When John has had enough and pushes Evelyn away, they notice Vicky is gone. As the couple rushes outside, Vicky emerges from her hiding spot in the bathtub and tries to sneak out the front door, but is caught by them on her way out. As they drag her back to the room, there is a knock at the door. Vicky screams for help, but John keeps her quiet while Evelyn goes to see who it is. At the door is a neighbor who heard commotion and thinks the couple is fighting again. He says he will call the cops, but Evelyn threatens him with a pair of scissors, scaring him away. When things settle down, Evelyn apologizes to John, blaming herself for everything. She once again expresses her love for him, which he exploits by threatening to leave her if Vicky escapes. The next day, Evelyn mails the letter to Vicky's mom, who is with Vicky's dad at the police station to file a missing persons report for her daughter. However, the cops are hesitant to act yet, assuming she is just another teen who has run away from home. Maggie and Trevor insist, so the cop tells them if she still isn't back by Monday, they will then take it seriously and begin a search. Maggie returns home and searches through Vicky's room for anything unusual, while Trevor finds the letter in the mailbox. The content of the letter strikes them both as unusual, but they can't understand what it means. Trevor lashes out and blames Maggie for their daughter's disappearance and asks Maggie to come back to him so they can be a happy family together, but she refuses. Frustrated, Trevor takes the letter and leaves, while Maggie cries out of fear for Vicky's safety. Meanwhile, while Evelyn is away, John molests the young Vicky. When Evelyn returns, Vicky tells her about the assault. She is clearly upset, but seems too scared of John to do anything about it. Vicky uses this to try and turn Evelyn against him, saying he is only using her so he can abuse girls like her. Vicky begs Evelyn to let her leave, promising not to mention her to the police, only John, but Evelyn still is not convinced. She instead tries to win John's affection by putting on Vicky's makeup, but when he doesn't notice, she then tells him to kill Vicky like all the other girls. When he refuses, Evelyn breaks down and threatens to kill herself, but John doesn't seem to care. She then accuses him of raping Vicky, but he manages to convince her that it didn't happen. John assures Evelyn that he loves her and that she is being manipulated by Vicky to drive a wedge between them. Convinced that Vicky is trouble for them, she again pressures him to kill her, and despite him insisting that she doesn't mean anything to him, he eventually agrees to kill her on Monday, the same day he kills all his victims. He once again tells Evelyn he loves her and convinces her to join him in abusing Vicky. Meanwhile, Vicky is devastated that her plan has once again failed, and she begins to lose hope. One day, Evelyn decides she wants to hurt Vicky, so she comes to her room and starts talking about how if she had only listened to her mother and stayed home, she would have never ended up in this situation. Vicky admits she really regrets disobeying her mother and begins crying. Evelyn then pushes even harder, telling her that her mother might not even be looking for her at all. Meanwhile, we see that Maggie is more determined than ever to find her daughter. While searching through Vicky's belongings, she comes across her boyfriend Jason's initials, which reminds her of the unusual letter she had received. Hoping he can help them understand what Vicky had written, Maggie and Trevor take the letter to Jason, who quickly decodes the hidden message in the letter, and they discover the address she had hidden in its content. Back with her captors, Vicky seems to have accepted her fate, just following Evelyn's orders and waiting to die. But when John once again finds the dog in their house, he loses his temper and starts beating the poor animal. When Evelyn tries to intervene, John strikes her as well before killing the dog. Evelyn is in a state of total shock from what she just saw, but John comes to her and tries to justify his actions, but she remains silent. John then comforts her by saying she will be allowed to bring her children over and once again promises to kill Vicky. Trevor, Maggie, and Jason take the decoded letter to the police and try to explain about the hidden message, urging them to check the address Vicky left for them to find. But again, the cops refuse to listen. Back at the house, Evelyn gets Vicky up and forces her to write another letter to her mom, telling her she is happy with her new life in Adelaide. When Vicky finishes the letter, Evelyn forces her to take sleeping pills so she doesn't have to deal with her anymore. Meanwhile, frustrated with the police's refusal to help them and deciding to take matters into their own hands, the family finds the address themselves. Gangsters come back to the house once again, demanding their money from John, as Evelyn holds a knife to Vicky's throat to stop her from making any noise. John comes back inside to take the money he owes them, which he keeps inside the Christmas cards. The sight of the cards reminds Vicky of her attempt to send for help to her mom, realizing it must not have worked. Maggie is knocking on doors in their neighborhood, asking everyone if they have seen Vicky, but no one has. Maggie then starts calling her daughter's name, and when John goes back outside to give the gangsters their money, Vicky hears her mother's voice. Vicky tries to answer her mom, but Evelyn doesn't let her move, while John and his neighbors watch Maggie searching the area for her daughter. Trevor eventually convinces Maggie that she isn't here, and they get back into the car. Back inside, John tries to strangle Vicky, but now Evelyn has had enough of him and stabs him in the back. While she is distracted, Vicky tries to climb out the window, but finds Evelyn standing right outside the door. Vicky makes a run for it, desperately trying to reach her parents, and surprisingly, Evelyn doesn't try to stop her. Maggie spots her injured daughter through the rear-view mirror, gets out of the car, and rushes to save Vicky and take her away from this nightmare.